Yeah, maybe. Okay. All right. So thank you guys for coming. I know it's the day before New Year's Eve, so everyone's probably getting ready to do that. um, I hey, Colton. So I wanted to talk today about getting our business plan in line for next year. And there's been tons of like business planning meetings. That was Hannah. Wait a minute, Hannah. I'm just kidding. No, there's been tons of like these business planning meetings, but I went to a workshop a couple weeks ago that actually Stacy had invited me to, and I liked it because it went through actually like planning in a different way that I had not heard of. And it was like kind of like setting goals for the year. But what I thought was like putting it more into like a quarterly thing would make it maybe a little bit more attainable and a little bit easier to like use going forward. So that's what I want to talk about today. But first, have you guys noticed anything going on in the market that you've seen or heard of? Maybe any shifts or anything?
The houses seem to be on the market longer.
Yes. Morning, Selena. Yes, Ashley said, you know, you've seen homes staying on the market a little bit longer, so that's definitely one thing.
Fairer pricing.
Yeah, fairer pricing. We've seen that.
I think, it's still continuing, the buyers still continuing what's here now right now.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit of buyer fear.
Everybody I've talked to. Think the setup, but they're not doing things I asked them.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, my credit's bad, I'm trying to save money, but hey, I totally get it. Like, I'm not pressuring you or anything. But the one thing I've learned through this is up to the mortgage banker. Let's get you
Yeah.
set up.
That's just wrong. It's not true. It's not true.
So why?
It's all good. It's all good. Uwe. It's all good.
You know, go through the application and everything just to get everything.
Yes. Yeah. Sometimes are fearful to like fill out the mortgage application and actually do the work that it takes to get a pre-approval. And they feel nervous, they're worried about their credit sometimes, things like that. I'm always though of the mindset, well, maybe now isn't the right time, but at least you'll know what you need to do to get you from point A to point, you know, Z, whatever. Even if now is not the right time, you have to build your credit, you have to you know, increase your credit score, you have to pay down debt, whatever it is, at least you'll know. And then, you know, we can plan accordingly. So maybe it's in 3 months, maybe it's, you know, after you get your taxes back, something like that. But at least knowing the starting place, you know, if you can encourage them to do that, that's huge. Stacey, did you have something?
Oh, just, you know, like we can negotiate repairs and concessions, and I love this. It's so good.
Yeah. I just got concessions on one in Riverview a couple weeks ago, and I was like, oh, this is so nice. So different. We haven't had that in so very long. So
And I think stuff stuck up on a couple months, 6 months ago, pricing, like they could get whatever.
yeah.
So right now, my dad is like, I want 300,000. No, let me, you know, I knew what.
It's 275, buddy.
Let's sit down, you know, let me go do some marketing analysis for you.
Yeah.
and sit down and have a
Yeah, definitely the sellers are of the mindset of the past, which is tough. Is there's a big learning curve there. And even like my current, you know, the listing that I had, it sat there for, I don't know, like 10 days, which is a long time, but not really. 10 days is nothing. But I remember him saying like, well, I know my neighbors, you know, he kept bringing it up. And I'm like, that was June. It is like December, like things are totally different now. So yeah, it's definitely like, that's like education and re-education. And, you know, sometimes that was, you know, it's even hard for me to bring comps from then, you know, I'm like making it tighter and tighter. And sometimes I don't have any, and I'm just coming up with a price that I think it will sell for in the market, which is like, literally, I just went to a listing appointment in Woodhaven this week. And I was like, gosh, I can't use any of those comps. So, you know, they're like, it was like August and before. So that means it was on the market in July, and it's totally different. So I'm like, I'm pulling out a number out of my butt that I know it will sell for, and hoping, you know, that we'll get the bidding war. So hold on, Colton said something. Some cold feet from buyers being more picky. I keep coming across people who think they want to move now and then back off the search. I'm searching for people who need to move to avoid wasting time, energy. Yes.
So true.
So huge. You know, I like was joking ironically, my last two buyers I had, both of them were like, I need to move right now. And I'm like, oh my God, can we get married? Like, I was so excited to actually have motivated buyers that needed to put something under a contract, like ASAP. I was like, yes, let's go. So that is like the best thing a buyer could ever say is I need to find something immediately. then you know their motivation, but it's so rare. The majority of my buyers are like kind of the tire kickers and things like that. And I think I had said in a couple weeks ago, like the language that I started to use, you know, is most buyers find a home within the first 2 to 3 weeks of shopping for a home. And that puts a little bit of like urgency and incentive, even if it's just like a little psychological thing. But I feel like saying that kind of sets them up so they don't think that we're going to be looking for 100 months. They think that, okay, we might find something sooner than I thought. Okay, so yeah, so when I was talking about setting goals for the whole year, I myself get overwhelmed. I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's such a long time, and my life changes very frequently. Like last year, I remember in January, I still was, you know, 50-50 buyers, like the majority, well, actually probably 60-40, 60% buyers and 40% listings. And I was just getting my butt kicked in the market, right? Because we were doing those competitive offers and people that didn't have enough cash to pay over appraisal and things like that. And so I really felt like this panic. I'm like, I am unequipped for this. This is not going to work, because I kept getting beat out, you know, at 10 offers or whatever. And so I had to shift my business within that first quarter. And I said, you know what? I have to switch. I have to be listing heavy. So then I was putting all my efforts and all my attraction towards more listings, which I know like naturally, like that's what realtors are supposed to do. But I started my career as a buyer's agent. So to me, it was a big learning process. And everyone's like, oh, you're going to love listing. You're going to love listing. And I'm like, no, I love buyers. I love buyers. I love, you know, showing buyers. But as you can see, being a buyer's agent, like it's exactly what Colton said, right? It gets exhausting because you never know if they're just wasting your time, your energy, and your gas. And it may take a very, very long time to find the right home for them. Especially if you have the buyer that just wants to move, doesn't actually need to move, then there's all this like cushion. I've had these $400,000 cash buyers since like last November, and they're still like, yeah, like, so I was super excited when they first told me. They're like, oh yeah, we're ready to move. But it's been like, okay, we'll look at a house, and then a month goes by, maybe we'll look at 2 houses, and it's so slow. Like to me, that's not a good and predictable business. So building that like heavy, you know, listing, I always am going to encourage you guys to do that, because then that gives you a little bit of predictability to your business.
Question, Amy.
Yeah.
Yes, my question is that, did you have her did you do in your career, did you do more representing of the seller or representing of the buyer?
So when I first started, I was all buyers, like it literally for the first probably 7 years of my career. Like I think I had like 2 listings ever. So I was just, because buyers to me were just easier, which in retrospect, I don't know that they were easier, but they were coming easier to me at the time. So they were easier to obtain at the time. So to me, I was like, oh, well, yeah, I can just put a buyer under contract. And I got to the point where I was good. I would show them 2 or 3 houses. I would really like tune in to what they needed, and I could show them 3 houses and sell them. I would take them
But they're
out.
not loyal. The problem is with buyers, they're not loyal.
Well,
that's
that is the risk. I mean, that is one of the risks of buyers, right? Like if they jump on Zillow and they click a button, they could get connected to any one of us. I mean, honestly, because most of us are on Zillow in some format, even if it's not a paid, you know, subscription. Like most of us are on Zillow. They could click on anything, or our competitor just down the street. So that is the hard part with buyers. So to me, with buyers, it's really pushing that customer service that will set you apart. So they won't want to leave you. They will want, like, if you're acting proactively, if you're giving them, you know, being responsive, giving them the information they need, paying attention. Oh, I know you said that you really want Southgate and this property just came up. Is this a match for you? You know, really listening to what they want. It will set you apart from the other realtors. In the last like 3 months, I've had 4 people come over to me that were working in some capacity with a different realtor, and they came over to work with me in the last 4 months because I was being responsive, getting them in the house quickly, doing the things that set me apart from the other agents. So.
Right, and also, do you feel like at like later points in your career, you chasing homeowners, or do you get most of your business runs on referrals eventually when you're
So
when you're doing
eventually, yeah, eventually, like this year is like, I think I closed 71 and 60 of them were my sphere of influence.
right sphere
Not
of influence
71 listings, but yeah, 60 of them.
people that you've done a deal with in the past, there's people that you've done
Yeah, and
right.
that's like customer service, like, so, getting referrals now from friends, neighbors,
So is it normal? Like I just recently started in the business. I mean, I've done rentals a lot through New York City, but I'm just getting started in sales, but I don't feel like I know enough people. And I'm doing a lot of cold calling and I'm doing that, but a lot of rejection, a lot of, it's hard to crack the first listing. Is that true?
Yeah,
Could it take a few months?
it takes like, what is it, Lisa? I'm sure she knows the stats, but it's like 200 calls and 2 years
Yes.
of business.
Yes, in your first 2 years, 200 calls to get one good listing that will sell or buyer that will close.
On my sale.
But not right away. Could be you'll have to follow up with him for the next 2 weeks till he doesn't
Have
give it
you
to
made,
you. She
do you
doesn't give it to you in
feel-
1 second.
yeah, do you feel you've made 200 really quality conversations with people so far about buying or
Go
selling?
ahead and
Conversation. I've
there.
made more than 200 contacts. I call more than 200 people a day, but
Yeah.
not everybody picks up. Sometimes I drop a
Well,
message.
correct. So that's not a conversation. So we're talking about actual conversations with buyers and sellers who could actually make a move, right? So
So-
that's 200 contacts for one listing. This is an average, right? And it's also based on what you're saying, how you're saying it. If you're connecting with them in these conversations, that's when your skills get better and better. Amy, how many contacts do you have to make for a listing these days, being that you have the high skill level?
Now I have to make about 20. So 10 to 20. I mean, it just depends. I mean, it depends on, I guess, who I'm connecting with too, for sure.
So 10 to 20 so assuming 10% of people pick up the phone, you have to make 2,000 phone calls to even get through to 200 people, which one of them will give you a listing.
Yeah, it's not easy work. I mean, that's the hard part, is like real estate is not easy work. When you say numbers like that, that's like, that can be overwhelming. But like, it's all about like consistency. So it's like breaking it down into these small parts.
And also eventually, is there like a light at the end of the tunnel where one day in a year or 2 years from now, I'm not going to need to make 2,000 phone calls or 200 phone calls?
If you give great customer service along the way, I do believe that it'll be the difference for you. Like, seriously.
And also, is there a way to manage to stay in touch? Let's say you did a deal with somebody this month, okay? How are you going to be in touch with them in 3 months from now? How are you going to check in? How are you going to remember to check in to see how they're doing? Are you going to send them a newsletter? How do you have everything organized?
Okay, so Eli, that's a great question, and I know
Sorry
you
for
just
asking you so many questions. I apologize.
yeah. So I know Amy has an agenda for today, which is actually going to touch on many of these things that you're asking, and you are going to be joining my Rising Stars course, which is going to also break down this, what you should be doing on a daily basis to get where you're going. So yeah, absolutely. Let's let Amy take back over the call here so that we can get on that, and then we'll absolutely be answering all of your questions.
And honestly, Eli, she's amazing. So Lisa will walk you through literally like business building, like step by step. So like there is a ton of questions in real estate, a ton. And I really feel like you'll get a ton out of the Rising Stars because it's building your business like from the ground up. So there'll be tons of answers that are helpful for you. But one of the things that I wanted to touch, so the big thing that I wanted to touch on today is how to set goals for like the near future, right? So again, I get overwhelmed when I think big picture, like next year at this time, like, I don't know, like, hopefully like everything's going great. I'm going to be consistent in my business. I'm going to do the things that I've done in the past to make myself successful for sure. But when I think like, oh my gosh, like income and how many calls I'm gonna make. And, you know, I mean, like some of the business plans are so detailed and I'm not a detail person. I'm more, I don't know, like, I don't know, like I'm, overall picture, like it's hard for me to break things into details because it can be like how many listings you want to take and how many buyer sales you want to have and, how much, gross income versus net income and all of your expenses. And I start hearing that and I get overwhelmed because it's like too many layers of information. And so when, Stacy and I attended that workshop, one of the things that I really liked that, it was a Chrissy Zambas workshop, was setting goals and breaking them down into smaller pieces that are a little bit more attainable, because you'll hear a zillion things. And I wanted to take just a couple minutes to brainstorm together, like some of the things that we hear that we should do as real estate agents. And honestly, Hannah, if you don't mind, even just typing it in the chat, and that way everyone has this list together and we can kind of brainstorm. So as a realtor, new or someone that's been there for a while, and Hannah's just going to type these in the chat so you guys can all see them as well. So what are some things that you hear that you could do to increase, improve, or, you know, maximize your business?
Cold call for one.
Okay.
Social media,
Cold calling, social media.
social media.
Yeah.
Following up.
Good. Networking, social media, following up, okay. Attend events,
Step out your comfort zone.
stepping out of your comfort zone. Yeah, and feel free, just type them in, like, yeah, type them in the chat, anything that you can think of.
Have actual conversations on stuff.
Mhm.
There you go.
Mhm. So these are all like great things. Keep them coming if you think of other things. So yeah, also here, like,
I think the other thing is what I've learned is mindset people. Two things. One, from Lucy Copeland, positive affirmation,
mhm.
positive thought. Then it's results. Stay negative, you're always gonna get negative results. The other one is fuck it up and figure it out. You know, that's okay. Just figure it out.
Okay. Right. So we have a good list going. There's a ton of different things on here, and thank you for everyone that contributed for sure. So there's lots and lots of different ways that you can grow your business and lots of different things that you can do. You can't do everything though. So if we break things down and say, okay, for this quarter, what is something that I can commit to? And I'd like you to come up with 3 things. And I have this sheet, which we'll send out.
Amy, can you make my share available so I can share? I can
Oh.
share.
Yeah, can you?
Oh. Okay, wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gonna make you a co-host. Okay, you are a co-host.
Okay. There you
Okay.
go.
Okay, so yeah, so this is like a breakdown of your quarterly goal and then coming up with 3 strategies that you could apply to your business in the next quarter. Okay, so for me, I know that I want to focus, I want to do something for my past clients. So I am huge on appreciating the clients that I've had, past clients, my sphere of influence. So I knew that I wanted to do some sort of a thank you to them for everything that they've done for me, and also just pour into my sphere. So be in constant contact with them. So that is one of my goals for the first quarter, is doing that on a consistent basis. The second thing that I wanted to focus on is, or Ingrid, do you actually have the actual one that I sent you this morning?
Yeah.
Okay, if you just share that one, that would be fine. Just so I have like a visual aid as I'm going through it. The second thing that I want to focus on is social media. I am garbage at social media. Like if anyone goes to my social media, you'll be like, oh, that's so bad, because I don't know what I'm doing ever. And I don't like being on social media. I don't feel like I'm good at it, whatever. These are like these limiting thoughts though, right? So I know that I have to improve that. And that's part of what my second one is to improve that. And then my third one is to obtain new business. And so that means that I have to call and actually lead generate from people that I don't know. You know, I always say this, like there's more people that you don't know looking to buy or sell than people that you do. So that is something to always keep in mind, is that if you truly want to generate more business, you have to contact the people you do not know.
You have
So
any systems of where to contact people? Like, do you have any recommendations of what you use to contact? Circle Prospecting, Expireds, Fizbos, Vulcan 7, Mojo. What do you use?
So I just use Remind to do circle prospecting, and then I'll use like Zillow to do, or Remind to do circle prospecting or expires, and then Zillow to find for sale by owners. So I mean, I don't like paying for things. I'm like, to me, I don't like paying for the unknown. So to me, it's just better if I can find a free source. Like I want that, and that's
What's
what
that? Remind is a free service?
yeah, through Real Comp.
Oh, I have to find that. Is it a triple line dialer where you're calling 3 people at once?
No, it is not.
So Eli, you're in New York, so you have a different MLS than we do. So we'll have to research that. Yeah, because I'm not really sure how yours works. That's our MLS. Remind is part of our MLS.
Got it. And then you use a dialer? Like how do you call so many people without it automating doing?
My cell phone. I'm old school. I'm like a grandma. This is where I lack like on social media, and I lack like technology. I don't do anything fancy. I'm a real basic girl.
Yeah.
So what I'd like everyone to do is think about those 3 strategies, right? So think about what you could do for the next. There's somebody, I don't know who's it. Okay, thanks. So what you can do just for the next quarter. So if we're looking January, February, March, what are 3 things that you could commit to bettering your business during that time? So for the people that are here, I'm going to hand these out, but can you drop a document into the chat, Ingrid? Is that possible? If you could just send that to everyone.
If I could drop what?
Are you able to put that document in the chat? Like,
Yeah.
you can get it?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And so my goal is for each of us to come up with those 3 things that we can do to increase our business. So that would be a quarterly goal. So it will be first quarter 2023, and come up with your 3 things that you're going to improve upon. Stacy, I know you were at the workshop with me. What were the 3 things that you chose that you would like to work on?
Sorry. I chose, I'm going to contact my sphere, social media, and volunteering.
Those are great. And there's the thing, like, don't be afraid to put a personal thing in there too, because having a good, like, volunteering is so important to Stacy. So having that balance of like, yes, I'm going to work hard towards these goals, but I'm also going to do something good for others. Like, what a great, I mean, like, I love that about Stacy. Like, what a great mindset to have, and what a great approach to things. Seriously, because I do believe it's all about being balanced and having a little bit of a little bit of everything in your life for sure. Anyone else? Or like Stacey, okay, so Stacey, actually, let me have you, if you don't mind. So when you did like go over one of yours and like how you broke it down. So, you know, underneath each of them, it'll see like the activities for each strategy.
So for volunteering, I put work adoption events so I can meet new people, find a dog a home, and find a person a home. And it's so awesome.
I love that. I love that.
And then I did introduce myself to customers coming in the shelter,
I love that.
raise money, and videos walking dogs looking for homes.
Aw.
And then just dropping my stuff off at the shelter because they like me.
But again,
Oh
this
my
is-
gosh, Stacy, that is so awesome. I love that. And oh, I can just picture this flyer that you can put together about that, Stacy. That is like just beautiful. Let's collaborate
you.
on that. Yeah, that's awesome.
Sounds good. Thank you.
10
So-
minutes.
What?
That's a fellow animal lover right there. What, do you mind sharing your other one?
My other one is social media. I need to do reels. I need to do videos. I need to post content every day. And I've actually been, just trying to put out like, what do you think about a plant wall and stuff like that, like a living wall, and just trying to engage people. And I think I'm engaging. I mean, I'm not getting business yet, but that's all right. It will come. And then pics of homes and direct message people.
I love those ideas.
So you don't do any fancy social media, like you ask somebody to just record you talking and then there's a
No,
music
Eli,
background. How do you do it?
I talk myself, I walk dogs, I just share things. I don't know. I mean, I closed 24 this year. I'm not like a high producer, but I'm
24
okay.
is still very good. If
Yeah.
you close 24 in New York, you'll be making almost $500,000.
Well, it's different downriver.
Yeah.
Turn down over.
We work really hard.
You're gonna make
I
40.
also work really hard.
I don't know what, 24K. I don't know. That's different here.
It's totally different.
Okay, so those are your social media. And then what was your other one?
My other one is my sphere. And I said, I'm going to make calls to them. I'm going to drop off gifts, do some tips for maintenance, and then just because, and text them.
I love that.
Yeah.
Lisa, as we're talking about this, do you have like things that you're focusing on in this first quarter coming up?
Absolutely. So I've been doing this for 20 years, right? So I have a pretty big sphere like Amy does. So a lot of my business is repeat and referral business from everybody I know, basically. But I'm also, as many of you know, I'm incorporating like cold calling, for sale by owners, expired, circle prospecting into my new business plan as I'm opening a team and being a good role model and example for people. So on my new one, you guys might be, someone needs to mute, please.
Tall one. Real close, like really.
It's so funny when people don't realize it. I'm like, I can hear you.
I know, because it's going to be me one day, right? It's me one day.
It is me all the time.
So I thought these numbers were really great, and I would share them with you guys if you wanted to hear. This is just a rough numbers of cold calling, 75 dials. And so if I do it Monday through Thursday, that's 18 dials a day, which should result in 24 conversations. And these are cold calls for the most part, right? Warm or cold, but nobody I know, which should result in 24 appointments. Half of the appointments will be good ones and stick, and the other half will cancel or not be sellable or whatever it is. And you'll end up with 6 appointments. And usually more than half of those 6 will close. So like 5 or 4 will actually close. And the reason you want to know those numbers and why they're so dramatic is because these are cold leads they're not the people we know that says, oh yeah, call my sister, she's looking for a house. That's much more solid and much more likely to close than someone that you get off of the internet or that you just call random. So so I've been focusing on that. So 75 dials a week on those cold calls. And of course, my sphere of influence is my livelihood. So I will constantly be taking care of them in the ways that Stacy was saying. Those are really beautiful ways, like just texting them, calling them, asking them how they're doing, dropping off a random gift, things like that, which I absolutely love.
Texting them once a week or texting them once a quarter, text them once a month?
Usually it depends on how close you are to them, truly. Some of my clients, I'll end up just texting them. I'll see something funny on Facebook that reminds me of them and I'll just send it to them, right? But some of them I can really only touch once a quarter because they just don't really want to be bothered. They're not chatty. They're just much more business. Like, I know, Lisa, I'll call you when I'm ready to sell. I got you, so it just depends on the relationship that you have with them. So there's a lot of that. And obviously for me, I'm looking into agent attraction a lot and team building. So mine will also incorporate, building great relationships with other agents.
Those are all great things, Lisa. Seriously. I know it gets overwhelming when you think of and I know that's the hard part. When you're just starting out, you do have to build your sphere, right? It's if you put the work in now, though, then you will be reaping the benefits later, right? I didn't grow my sphere overnight. It took a long time and it was hard work and a lot of calls and a lot of follow-up and a lot of heavy customer service. And a lot of people think, oh, I'll go into real estate and everyone's going to use me. That's not the case always. I've had family members not use me when I first started. It's crushing. But what did it teach me? That I need to be out there, that I need to be sharing with them in a gentle and not a salesy, in your face way, but in a way that's approachable. That's, I feel like overall I'm likable to most people. Some people.
By the way, if there's
But
anything I could say, never rely on family members to give you the business, by the way. Never. It never works out.
well, and it never assume it ever. Like my cousins, I had an aunt that just passed away. I didn't assume that they were going to use me. They know I'm a real estate agent, but they ended up calling me and they're like, well, we'd like you to do it. And I, of course, was flattered. I'm going to take the best care of them. But it is never assumed, right? But they've seen me. I've talked about real estate in front of them. I'm open that I'm a real estate agent. And so, and I want them to know that I am, and that I'll take great care of them because it's important to me. And
what do you say when people ask you, how's the market? How's the market? What do you answer to that question?
Fantastic, Eli. It's great. The market is great. That is everything and every time. Because it's always great for somebody, right? Sometimes it's great for sellers, sometimes it's great for buyers, sometimes it's great for realtors, sometimes, you know what I mean? It's always great for somebody. So you can say that and say it with confidence because the market, great for investors, it's great for upsizers or downsizers or whatever. That's always great for somebody. So you can say it and say it truthfully and energetically so that people are excited about it too. So as we're starting, there's a lot of newer agents that have been in the market for, 3 years or less, there's a lot of growth that has to happen and a lot of hard work that needs to occur. And especially as the market shifts, where everyone is going to have to put in even more work than before. So there's the learning, right? There's a lot to learn, but then there's also, how do I build my business? And so as you're generating this plan for the quarter, I would love everyone to come up with what their 3 things are. So when I said, okay, well, I want to do focus on my sphere. For me, it was doing a client appreciation event. I've never done one before. So I'd like to do that. I like to, contact them on a regular basis, kind of like what Lisa and Stacey said, make sure that I'm doing something personal for them, whether it's dropping off a gift, you know, I remembered that, oh, he likes this beer, or she likes this wine, or, oh, I saw that, or she collected chickens, like whatever it is, like, I'd like to do something that's thoughtful and,
Question, by the way, but honestly speaking, are you really interested in these people? Or you're just doing that to get business? Because when it's not genuine, it's very hard to reach out to somebody that you don't really, you're not really going to be his best friend, as that person, but you're going to call them just because they should remember you. So it's very fake. It's not coming from a real place.
yeah, that's the difference, Eli. That's, I think, what sets agents apart is you actually have to care about the people. I'm not pretending.
No, you do care, but like you're in talking to them only so you can get more business. It's not a real friendship that you're calling somebody from that you were in high school with and your kids catching up. These people you're just calling them because you want them to remember you.
I don't agree with that. I think you build relationships, and like Lisa said, you're going to connect with certain people. I'm Facebook friends with them, and I'm like, I love them.
Yes. And that's how I feel too. I don't work with clients that I don't like for the most part. Like every once in a while I'll get a client like, no, I'm not going to continue that relationship because I didn't vibe with them. They were either mean or negative or whatever. I focus, like I'm to the point where I have my top 100 people, and those are the people that I'm pouring everything into. I'll still reach out to the other people. But those are the people that have either referred me business. We get along great. Like, they love me. I love them back. They were really, really funny. Like it could be any random reason, but I do value them as people. I'm never thinking like, oh, I'm going to do this and they're going to give me business. That's never, ever my goal. I'm actually doing it because I'm a people person. I like people. And the more relational you are in this, it naturally builds your business. So it's never with the intention of, I'm doing this so I get this. Like I'm never generous for that reason. I'm never kind to other people for that reason. I'm never being strategic about it. I'm just doing this because this is me as a person. So, and I want them to know me as a person, not just a salesperson. So like there is just recently there was the I had listed this house and it was an estate and it was the original owner, and it was these two women that were selling it, these sisters, and I had, I got my measuring device out and I'm measuring all the rooms. They're like, oh my gosh, what is that? That's so cool. Well, for Christmas this year, I dropped them off each a measuring device and just put something like, I remember when I listed your father's house, you thought this was so cool. And so I thought each of you would appreciate one of these. And just want to thank you, wish you a Merry Christmas. Like something like so silly. It was like a $15 thing for each of them, but they were like, I got responses back from both of them. Like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And like, you're our family realtor now, like things like that. Like I didn't do that with that intention. I just thought it'd be thoughtful. It's Christmas time. I like being generous and nice to people, like no big deal. But it's like those little things that I feel like does set your business apart. So, and that's part of my like appreciation for my past clients and my spheres. Like I want to do those things. And anytime someone pops into my head, I know like Lisa is a big fan of this. And actually Michelle Sayward, she used to say someone would pop into her head and she'd always reach out to them in some way. And it can be just something simple like, hey, I was thinking about you, blah, 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 blah. And it doesn't have to be, even real estate related, just letting people know that you're thinking of them is huge. So, let's see. So does anyone have anything else or any questions about anything that I've gone over so far? Comments, anything? No? Okay. And so
I'm sorry, I was late. I
know I need to pause a little bit longer because I know it's like, okay, wait.
I do the same thing on Wednesday. I like just talk right over people when they're trying to unmute. I'm sorry, Amy. But it's definitely, as we're talking about these goals, it's about definitely building those relationships, and you will find as you do it more and more, that's really all it's about, right? Like you don't, I'll end up working with this man that I would really never have a whole lot of in common with him. But as we go through the process, it's a very intense process at times with negotiating and them being nervous and winning or losing and all of this stuff. We make that natural connection. And then it is fun. It is fun to say like this one guy that I never thought I would ever have anything in common with, right? He's sending me emojis of him in like Hawaiian shirts, and just the visual of him in a Hawaiian shirt was killing me, right? So we just built this connection of something silly, like Amy said, they like chickens or whatever. And once you do it over and over and over again, it becomes more natural. And that's what makes your job fun, right? And that's that's that connection part. So I just wanted to make sure to say that. And always, yeah, building your sphere is your number one thing that you have to do as a new agent, period. Like, you must start building your sphere in any way that's good for you. And they say, join a group. For me, initially, it was my daughter's preschool. That was easy because it was a co-op. We all had to work together. So I started making friends that way. I made friends with their friends and so on. So huge on building your sphere. So just wanted to say that.
Oh, I love that. Like, that was a lot of my business. I was a baseball mom. I was travel baseball mom. So I was like around people constantly. Like, I was around people all the time, trying to make connections, things like that. Now I'm a band mom. And so like, now I'm like, all right, I'm like the class clown at the band booster meeting. And like, it was like, literally like, I'm the only person that cracks jokes, and thank God everyone laughs at them. Maybe out of like a courtesy or like being polite, but I'm always acting like absolutely crazy in there. And they're like, oh my gosh, well, this is good. Like, so, but that's the thing, like, wherever I am, I'm always trying to like, if I go to any kind of like social engagement, I want to be like just relationship building constantly. The more relationships you have, the further you'll go in this business, period. So for example, so say your goal is to build your sphere. Okay. So if we're sitting here and you're like, I want to build my sphere, think right now, what are some ways that you individually could build your sphere, right? So I mean, Stacy gave a great example, volunteering, doing something that you love for others, right? She automatically, I mean, she loves dogs anyway. So instinctively she wants to, and cats, she's equal opportunity. But she is a pet friendly realtor. That's her thing. So she's doing something she loves anyway, like, and something that's good for others, right? So she's doing a good service plus something that's near and dear to her heart that she would want to do, whether she was a real estate agent or not. And she's going to make connections. She has gotten so many referrals from the people that she's working alongside of alone. Like how amazing is that? And that's just something she's doing good and getting good in return. And she's not doing it for that purpose, but it just naturally happens. So maybe there's a cause that's near and dear to your heart. Maybe you're like, yeah, I would love to, feed the homeless, volunteer here, do whatever. Come up with something like that where you're doing good for the community. I know like Andrew is a great example. He is like a Kiwanis. Like, how awesome is that? Like, he's giving back and doing things for the community and making connections. Andrew's young. He's 20 years old. He's not going to have a big sphere. His friends are not buying houses right now, right? They're playing online games. I don't know, whatever. Yes. So maybe that's not his true sphere, but like he connects with the Kiwanis, that's older people, right? People that might be looking to buy or sell. I know, like Cindy Ames, she was on here a little bit ago, but like she does tons of volunteer work, with, military. Like, that's huge. She gets so many people that are referrals because of that. They're, I think she's a member at the VFW hall in Trenton, like, and she stays connected to that sphere of people. I can think of a realtor that I know, like, he honestly used to go to the bar a lot and like hang out at the bar, and he would just meet people, and he'd sit at the bar. He was single at the time, and he would just make connections and maybe buy a guy a drink, and he became a regular at a bar, and he built his sphere doing that. So, I mean, whatever it is, I mean, it honestly, it could be for a good cause, or it could just be you naturally and socially doing things, but ways to build your sphere. So maybe you're going to networking events, you're volunteering, you're coming up with a hobby. Jeff Garner, great example. He's a bowler, right? So he gets so many referrals by bowling, which is something that he loves anyway. He was in a cornhole league. Like, he's getting referrals from people doing what he loves to do. So when you're thinking, okay, I want to build my sphere, what are some ways that I could do it? Maybe you're joining a bowling league or a golf league or whatever it is, when the weather is appropriate, or a boater. Maybe you like boating and you could join a local boat club. I know like Lisa was a member of Albemarle for a while, and I know she's got some people from that. So really think of the ways that you can come up. Andrew, I love your background. It's so cool.
Thank you.
I need that in my life. You look really put together. I like that.
Look at him. Wow. Who is that?
I know.
Fancy.
2023 me.
I love it. I love it. 2023 me. Okay. Or social media. So that's another huge one, right? So put social media on the line. What does that mean? What could you do to build your social media? Maybe you're putting a post every day. There's tons of different social media things platforms where you can learn things, free events, paid events, all that. Go online or follow a content creator and see how they do it. Like watch what they do and mimic some version of that. You don't even have to pay for that. If you know someone who does social media, go to their page. What do they do? What are they posting? And mimic it. Usually it's a positive quote. Then maybe it's a short video. Then the next one, something personal. Then the next one, something business, right? So diversify to make yourself interesting so people want to follow you. And then like Herman the other day, he contacted me. He's like, what should I say to reach out to friends on Facebook? So I have 1,500 people, I think, on there, or maybe 400. I don't know, because I'm not into social media, but I can go to them and private message them, and it could be personal or it could be business. I said, well, it depends. Herman, do you want to reach out to them, start building personal relationships, or do you want to reach out to them and ask for business? Hey, just so you know, I just recently got my real estate license. My goal is to sell 24 homes in 2023. I would love for you to work alongside me to help me reach this goal. Something like that. Like, is that even hard to do? No. Will some people say, I'm not interested? Yeah, maybe. But what if the one person says, yeah, I am interested? So instead of just letting all of those friends just sit there, DM them, send them a message, direct message, for those of you who don't know. I learned that way late in life, but anyway, whatever, send them a message and say something either personal or professional. Why just let them sit there? That is a sphere. That is a database that just sits there. And some people don't like making calls. So what a great way to be able to just send a message, reach out to people and see if you can get some business activity generated from that. What else? Oh, there's a couple other things. Does anyone have any other questions or comments?
I overthink things.
Okay, that's okay.
Is reaching out through text and DM still considered like going after your spirits? Because I've always considered like cold calling. Like,
No. So this is the thing, like, and I'm gonna say this, Lisa was trained, Michelle was trained, like, even I was trained like that mentality. It has to be a phone call, right? This is 2023. So to me, as long as you are doing business that is for like that specifically, like prospecting, he asked if sending DMs or sending texts is the same as cold calling. Right? Does that summarize it pretty much?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like,
So to me, no, prospecting is everything that you do, right? Prospecting is everything that you do, and it should be. If you want to be a successful real estate agent, it should be all the things, right? So it is, if you're in the line at the grocery store and you're picking up a conversation, every time you hand your business card out, it is direct messaging people online. It is texting your sphere. It is talking, making cold calls. It is all of the things. And I prefer warm calls over cold calls because we're warm, happy people, but it is all of those things, right? So anything that you're doing to proactively generate business or relationship build, to me, is prospecting. It does not have to just be, oh, cold calls. Like, that's scary. It's overwhelming and intimidating for a lot of people. In this business, it is not as easy if you're an introvert. So you have to push out your extrovert side, okay, which is why the calls are important. And the very, very top producers, it is going to be the calls. I mean, at the end of the day, but there are lots of other ways that you can do. So I'm not eliminating anything, okay? Anything that you are doing to proactively ask for business or build relationships, to me, is prospecting. So, anyone else have anything?
I agree with you, Amy. And so the thing that matters is, who are you making those connections with? So the idea is, it's supposed to be when you're sending a message, or it's supposed to be a conversation, meaning that they reply. So it can't be, I mass emailed all of these people and no one replied. That counts as 300 contacts. It doesn't, right? But also what my mentor, Bill, would always tell me is, I need to define what a contact is for myself. And for me, it's a real estate conversation. So if I say, I'm a local real estate agent, and I'm just giving you my information in case you know somebody looking to buy or sell, please pass out my information. And they say, oh, great, I sure will. That's a conversation about real estate for me. And so then I get to decide and make those definitions of, and then tracking them, right? So my whole career, I would have 5 business cards in my pocket every day. The beginning of the day, they had to be gone. If I didn't get rid of them, I had to go somewhere, grocery store or wherever, gas station, and pass them out and have that conversation. That was my minimum standard. And that's how I built, how I kept building and building. So that was just all I wanted to add.
No, I love that. I love that. Actually, when we went to the Jeff Glover thing, Selena was there, and Hannah, he literally was like, he said that same standard for himself. And he said, if I didn't, his coach said, just like rip him in half and throw him away. Like literally, like that was his goal every day. And if he didn't do it, the coach said, fine, if you didn't do it, then just rip them in half and throw them away, because that's what good they are to you. Like seriously. And that's, to me, like, I mean, that's easy. It's face-to-face. And a majority of us will say we're always better face-to-face than on the phone. All right, well, prove it, give yourself that goal of like, handing out those business cards to build your sphere. And I love what you said, of getting their reaction back, like getting their commitment, like, well, if you do run into someone looking to buy or sell, would you do me a favor and just share my information? And again, this is the perfect time of the year for goal setting and sharing that goal with other people. Put it on your social media. Share it as you're prospecting your sphere, or direct messaging people through Facebook, like say, my goal is to sell this many homes this year. I would love it, if you would, assist me. And if you know of anyone looking to buy or sell, you would share my information, something like that. So, anyone else have anything that they want to share, or? Okay, just a couple other things that I want to talk about. We do have January 25th at our office. We're hosting at the Wynot office. We're hosting continuing education. It's with Michigan Institute of Real Estate, which is Namir George. I don't know if it'll be Namir himself, which would make me so happy, but anyway, they do a really nice continuing education. And so we're going to have lunch here, and it's good just to get it out of the way in January so that you're set for the year with the hours that you need to keep, compliant with our licenses. So if you're interested, there is an Eventbrite link that we can get out to you. And also we're going to be starting on January 9th. We're going to do Healthy 23. And so this is going to be totally different. We haven't done anything like this before, but Healthy 23. And we're going to do, it takes 21 days to build a habit, but we're going to do 23 days because it's 23. And we're going to do a healthy mindset, healthy food, and healthy body. And so it's going to be affirmations. It's going to be filling our mind with positive thoughts and, just a good mindset every day. And then it's healthy food. We're going to fill our bodies with healthy food so that we feel good. And then a healthy body, healthy food and then a healthy body, doing some sort of 30-minute activity every single day, to whether it's a walk or at the gym or yoga, whatever it is, for 30 minutes every day. So we'd love for people to be a part of that too. More information to come. But I'm excited about it. I feel like I've been eating like everything bad in the entire world and I can feel it. It's just bringing me down. So I'm like, okay, positive mindset is everything. You know that. I feel like maybe Lisa, you might be a good part of this if you're interested. We were talking about all the different things we could do. But you know, I don't know, just getting it healthy all the way around so that our mind and our body is physically healthy. So anyone have anything else? Okay, so what I will encourage you, yay. What I would encourage you to do is you see all the people that are on here today. Okay. I want everyone to commit to reaching out to one person that's on here to hold yourself accountable for coming up with this quarterly plan. Okay. So everyone pick someone on here. You see who's on here and contact that person directly and say, hey, I want accountability to get this form done. Because I want you to have someone to hold you accountable just for the next quarter. Okay. And it can be, you know, 3 people together or however you guys do it. Selena, Eman are here as well in the office. So whoever you can find, and Michael, I did see that back there. Very nice. He got a sphere call while we were on this as we're talking about it. So I think that's really cool. Maybe he's here. Oh yeah, he's here. So that's cool. But so find someone and just hold yourself accountable. This is a quarter. We have the next 3 months. What could you do to build your business or build relationships so that you can build your business going forward? And I just thank you guys all for being here today. I hope you have an amazing new year. I'm so excited for 2023. And like, just, I don't know, I'm here if you guys need me, and thank you. Have a great Friday.